Hello comrades, you're watching RedIvanAirsoft, and today we'll talk about this Ukrainian experimental camouflage pattern, and also we'll discuss all camouflage patterns of the MM14 camouflage family. And we will start this conversation with obvious things. MM14 is not a copy of the American UCP. Just look how different they are. And on top of this, UCP has only 3 colors. And how many colors MM14 has, we'll discuss a little bit later, so don't count yet. To understand how Ukrainian armed forces got their digital camouflage, and why this particular one, we'll need to start with very first digital camouflage pattern of the Ukrainian armed forces, and to be more specific, Ukrainian border guards. A new digital uniform for Ukrainian border guards appeared on the eve of Euro 2012. The earliest set I saw was dated 2011. However, massively this new uniform was issued since March of 2012. The cut was the same as on the army uniform of those years. Simplified Afganka without the plaits on the back of the jacket, without cargo pockets on the trousers, and with cuffs like an American BDU. However, there were few new features. On the early jackets there were no pockets on the sleeves, but there were the back pockets on the pants. However, soon the pockets on the sleeves were added back, and the back pockets on the pants were removed. Speaking about camouflage, it was 3-color digital pattern with 2 shades of green and 1 black. The pattern size was 230 by 220 mm, and the colors could differ greatly, but it is kind of post-Soviet tradition. In general, the year of 2012 was noticeable for active attempts to perform the cosmetic changes in the Ukrainian armed forces. On the prospective 2012 military exercises, paratroopers of the 95th Separate Air Mobile Brigade wore Gorka's Mk2 in attacks EU camouflage pattern produced by P1G TAC. Also, the video report from these exercises for the first time demonstrates the sets of the field uniform produced by GARM, which were purchased from Norway. GARM is a division of NFM responsible for the development of the uniforms. These sets were tested in the 8th Separate Special Purpose Regiment stationed in Khmelnytsky. And supposedly there are plans to produce this uniform in Ukraine. Anyway, the same year of 2012, the first information about the development of the new camouflage pattern for the Ukrainian armed forces appeared, and unfortunately we do not know the name of the pattern. However, I nicknamed it Lebedevka, named after the Minister of Defense of that times, by analogy with the MM14's nickname Giliteika. New pattern was based on the border guards variant. First, the 4th color was added, burgundy brown. Also, the pattern was upscaled, and it went to 300 by 320 mm. This pattern mostly reminds me Estonian or Bulgarian, but there are also some similarities with Marpat and flicked arm. The earliest footage of this experimental camouflage pattern that I could find was made in November of 2012. And according to the information on the website of the company Combat SPN, they also participated in the testing of this camouflage in 2012, and their conclusion was extremely negative. But on the other side, I see the conflict of interest here. Despite the fact that Lebedevka is not the best camouflage pattern in the world, the Combat SPN the same year were actively marketing their own camouflage pattern called Hishnik or Hizhak in Ukrainian or Predator in English, which was developed by Igor Franchuk. One way or another, field trials of Lebedevka pattern took place in 2012-2013 on the basis of the 1st Battalion of the 30th Separate Mechanized Brigade in Novograd-Volhynsky. And with the beginning of the ATO, it could be seen on the fighters of the 1st Battalion at the checkpoints near Crimea. And as you can see, both winter and summer sets of this uniform are produced in the same cut as GARM samples. And also I wonder why our 3rd level jacket for the green-based uniform is tan, and for the tan-based uniform is green. The uniform sample that came to my hands was made in Afganka cut, which makes me think that it was either produced on the very early stage of the experimental development, or opposite, was made of leftover garment for the commercial purpose. In any way, we'll discuss it in details, since I have it for you. Jacket. There are 2 shoulder straps for ranks, 2 sleeve pockets, each pocket closes with 1 button, and has a velcro panel for patches of the standard of 1994. Nostalgie. No elbow reinforcements. Buttoned cuffs, And these are cheap, ugly black buttons that could be seen on the uniforms of Ukrainian armed forces produced in 2010s. There is a pleat on the back like on Afganka, which increases the flexibility. 2 chest pockets, each has 1 button. There are Velcro panels above the chest pockets. 2 pockets below, and these have 2 buttons each. Jacket features button closure and 1 internal pocket on the left. Trousers have a simple, I would even say too simple cut. Fly with zipper closure, 2 front pockets, 2 baby cargo pockets with Velcro closures. Why baby? Because these are twice smaller than cargo pockets on Afganka. The belt loops are so narrow so they barely fit my officer's belt. No knee reinforcements or leg drawstrings. Despite the fact that all pictures from the Lebedevka trials feature some moly systems in tan or coyote color, I found an orthodox Corsair 3M in this pattern. Next step is the trials of the transitional pattern, which I call MM13. The trials of MM13 began in December of 2013 in the 1st Company of the 1st Battalion of the 95th Separate Air Mobile Brigade. The color scheme was changed again. Probably they were trying to develop something that will work good in both Ukrainian steppe and forest. Now there were 5 colors. Spots that were black on Lebedevka were divided. Some of them remained black, while others received a new shade. Unfortunately, I was able to find only 1 clear photo of this camouflage. Later, in the spring of 2014, fighters of 95th Separate Air Mobile Brigade occurred in a uniform reminiscent of MM13, but the colors on it were much less saturated. So it is impossible to say for sure whether it was a faded MM13 or a pre-production MM14. And on August 21st of 2014, in Odessa Military Academy, the finalized version of the uniform that went to production in MM14 camouflage pattern was demonstrated. MM14 featured the same 5-color pattern as MM13, but with an updated color scheme. The cut was the same as on the pre-production samples, except the Velcro panel that was added to the flap of the sleeve pockets. And basically it is the iconic MM14 camouflage pattern that is still in use by Ukrainian armed forces. But here we need to stop for a second and get back a little bit to discuss another interesting camouflage pattern made for internal troops. This camouflage pattern is not based on Lebedevka or MM13. It is based on the 3-color camouflage for the border guards. Green base was just changed to the blue. For the first time this camouflage appeared on February 20 of 2014. Zakharchenko was wearing it during his speech. The suits in this pattern were produced in both Old Ukrainian Army cut and in the cut of the first generation of MM14. And why I said the first generation cut, it is because in 2015 the uniform's cut was redesigned. But we already discussed it in my other video. Basically we discussed all Ukrainian camouflage patterns since 1991 all the way till 2019, so if you are interested, go back to see that video. In October of 2016, the blue version of the MM14 camouflage was released for the naval forces, by analogy with the camouflage of the US Navy. Like the Lebedevka, camouflage became 4-color again. Only 2015 type uniform was produced in this pattern. And for conclusion, let's briefly repeat the key dates of the MM14 camouflage development one more time. In 2011, the 3-color digital uniform for border guards was released, and it became the basis for the further development. In 2012, 4-color woodland version with upscaled pattern was released. In 2013, the transitional version came out, and now there were 5 colors. In 2014, the finalized version of the MM14 camouflage pattern was released, and it was produced in the first generation cut. The 3-color camouflage for the internal troops also appeared in 2014, and it became the main camouflage of the National Guard. In 2015, the cut of the MM14 was changed. In 2016, 4-color blue version was issued to naval forces. And of course, traditionally for the post-Soviet countries, the standards of coloration may vary. And by another post-Soviet tradition, the market is full of the commercial samples. That's why you can find camouflages from green dominant all the way to completely pink. But in all those variants, one thing is recognizable. They all belong to the MM14 camouflage family. The camouflage family that became the integral part of the image of the Ukrainian soldier. Well, I hope you like this video. Put like, comment, subscribe to my channel, watch my other videos, and see you soon!